Live. This is Michelle Christensen of michellechristensen.com, and I'm a speaker, strategist, and best-selling author for solopreneurs or one-person businesses. Now, even if you've never heard the word solopreneur, we are everywhere. The U.S. Census Bureau reports that over three-fourths of all U.S. businesses have no employees, and that's a lot of solopreneurs. Now, most people start their solopreneur business doing something that they love or something that they're great at. And I teach people how to have a profitable, thriving business doing what they love or what they're great at. Now, there's a lot of people who teach how to build an organization and how to hire people and how to outsource and how to run your whole company. And that's a great way to work, but it's not the only way. I, for one, love being a solopreneur, and I'm certainly not alone in that. So if you like the idea of being a solopreneur or you are one already, you're going to love this video tip. So this video tip is on how to handle those tasks that tend to creep, the ones that will take as much time as you will put into them. So have you ever noticed how some of them can just keep creeping up and fill up more and more of your time? Like, how is it possible that you hop over to Facebook to check something really quickly and an hour later you're still over there, flipping through photos and whatnot? Or your email, have you ever noticed it can just take forever to keep up with your email? Or how can a 3-minute video take 3 hours to write the script for? These are all examples of projects that tend to creep. And you're especially vulnerable to this project expansion or project creeping if you work on the internet, because you've got all this stuff available to you right out in front of you. Now, today's tip is to put edges on those tasks that tend to expand or creep so that you'll know when they're done. And I'm going to give you some examples, but you can use this concept with just about any of these expanding tasks. So the first thing I talked about was Facebook. So when you're using social media, it's really easy to go down rabbit holes and end up spending way more time than you intended to. So there's two ways you can put edges on this. One is you can set a time limit. So maybe you want to spend 20 minutes or 5 minutes or an hour kind of taking care of all of your social media sites for the day. Another way you can put edges on this task is to have a checklist for what you want to accomplish. Like maybe you want to post in, once in all your various sites and reply to people who have shared your content or comment on other people's content, that kind of thing. But whatever you're trying to accomplish, have a checklist so that you know when it's done. And that way you won't just spend time kind of fooling around and never being sure if you've completed what you need to or not. The second thing I mentioned is your email inbox. This is a place that bogs a lot of people down. It can be very, very hard to stay on top of email. And I think one of the reasons is that it's so easy to communicate with email that we get a lot of email, whereas something like a phone call is much more effortful, so people use it less. So my tip for keeping your email in check is to empty your email inbox at least a few times a week. You don't have to do it every day, but at least a few times a week. Now, an empty inbox tells you one really important thing, which is that you have seen and made a decision on and properly placed everything that's come in. So everything that's come in has been looked at and decided on. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you've done every single task associated with those incoming emails. It just means that you've looked at them, you've figured out what needs to be done, and you've put the email in the appropriate place other than your inbox, and that you have it someplace so that you can deal with it when the time is right. Now, a related tip to this is don't use your inbox to store your emails. Don't use it as a filing cabinet or a dumping ground. When you do that, you end up with a mix of emails that you haven't read yet, emails that you have read but haven't made a decision on, and emails that are completely taken care of and only need to be kept for some reference purpose in the future. This is a really easy way to get buried and overwhelmed by your email because you never know what's new, what's old, and it's really easy for stuff to get pushed back to page 2 or 3 or 4 that you haven't acted on. And visually, you don't have a clear indicator of when you're done. Like there's no way to just take a quick look and know that, oh, I've finished this. Whereas when your inbox is empty, it's a binary condition. Either it's empty or it's not. You either move those emails to where you need to or you haven't. So I strongly recommend that you don't use your email inbox to store emails over the long haul. It's just a temporary holding place while you're thinking about what to do with them. Now, the final trap I mentioned was when you're doing a writing project. And given that our content can live on the internet literally forever, it can feel really overwhelming, and you can feel the sense of like, I have to get this right. This really represents me. And especially as a solopreneur, we tend to identify really closely with our business, and it's a really big part of who we are. So of course we want great writing out there. We want to be represented in our best light. The problem is that it can take a really long time to get everything that nice. So it's important to put edges on anything that you're writing. And one way to do that is to limit the amount of time you spend on it. How good does it need to be? And how long do you need to make it that good? Of course, you don't want straight up errors in it, but not everything that you write has to be the absolute life's best work that you've ever done. Yeah, so even like I'm sure I'm making mistakes in this video right now, but you're getting the point, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So the one thing I want you to take from this video is to keep an eye on those tasks that tend to expand and creep and take up a lot of time. Put some edges on them so that you know when you're done and you don't end up spending more time than you should on them. Now, if you liked this video tip, I'd like you to go to michellechristentsen.com/daily and download a copy of your free report, The 5 Biggest Mistakes That Solopreneurs Make in Writing Their Daily To-Do List and How to Avoid Them. And then I'll also send you tips and strategies like this, including the chance for me to answer some questions you have. And that'll all come right to your email box. Now, before you leave this page that's showing you the video, I'd love it if you use the social sharing buttons that are below the video to share this video with any friends or colleagues that might be interested. Thanks a lot and have a great day. This is Michelle Christensen. Bye-bye.